So I quickly want to walk you through applying for an EIN. An EIN is basically like a social security number for your business. You can apply online. It's super easy if you go to irs.gov or just Google file EIN like I did. And this link should come up, apply for your employer identification number, EIN. Hours of operation, you have to do it within the hours of operation, otherwise the website doesn't always work. I've had it randomly work at random times, but if you do it during the day, then it's guaranteed to work Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay, so you'll scroll down and apply online. Got it, for authorized use. Begin application. And this is why it's important to make sure you decide what type of business you're going to have before you apply for your EIN. And your EIN is actually going to allow you to file taxes and open a bank account. So there's a lot that you can't do unless you have one, but you're going to want to know what your business structure is. We talked about lots of different business structures, sole proprietorships, partnerships, corporations. We talked about all of that. We are going to pick LLC because I think that's what most of you will register as, and we'll continue. And here they explain a little bit more about an LLC. As we mentioned in the other video, an LLC may be treated as a partnership or a corporation or be disregarded as an entity separate from its owner. Most of you are probably going to want to treat your LLC as a partnership and not a corporation, because a corporation just requires a lot more paperwork and the taxes are a lot more complicated. So you're probably going to want an LLC treated as a partnership. There's nothing you need to do here, but this is good information to know. So they'll ask you how many members are in an LLC. This is probably something that you'll have outlined in the operating agreement that we talked about. In my LLC, the Auditory Museum, we have 3 members, 3 founders. We're the members. And you'll have to pick the state where you are physically located. Obviously, this is important for tax purposes. And then it'll tell you, obviously, I have a multi-member limited liability company because I have more than one member in my LLC. Since I'm a multi-member LLC, we must initially classify you as a partnership. If you do not wish to accept the default classification of a partnership, you can file one of these forms. Again, as I mentioned, you probably are not going to want to elect corporate status or file as a corporation, so you'll just want to keep the default. So I'm going to continue here. Then they'll ask you the best reason for, or the reason that you are actually applying for your EIN. I want to bring to your attention that if you select that you are starting a new business, that's awesome. But as soon as your business is actually filed, you are going to be responsible for taxes. So until you get your EIN, the IRS probably doesn't even really know or isn't keeping track on the fact that your business exists. But as soon as this is filed, they know that your business exists, so you're going to be responsible for your taxes. So keep in mind that you might need this number to get your bank account, but now that you have it, you are on the IRS radar, and you have to make sure you are filing your taxes if you don't want to go to jail for tax evasion. There are other reasons, obviously, for getting your EIN: hiring a new employee, banking purposes, changing the type of organization, which you can do later if you want to, purchasing an active business. We're going to click starting a new business because I'm sure that's what most of you will be clicking. So then you'll have to fill out your personal information: first name, middle name, last name, social security number. So this is going to be your personal social security number, and you'll either have to say that you are one of the owners or members, which I'm sure that's going to be most of you, or if you're applying for on behalf of a third party, you'll fill this out here. So I'm going to fill this little piece out, and then I'll stop the video while I put in my social security number. Filled in my social security number, and then the next page took me to a page where I had to fill in the address of my business, which I also filled out. And now we're here looking at the details. You can see at the top our progress. So this is going to be the last step before you get to the EIN confirmation. You're going to want to type in the legal name of the LLC. If you have filed articles of organization in your state, the name needs to match, and everything matters. So the name of my business is the Auditory Museum LLC. If I were to write Auditory Museum, comma, LLC, that would be wrong because our articles of organization do not have a comma. So the commas matter, the period matters, whether or not you include the LLC matters. You would make that decision when you were actually naming your business. So everything matters when you're filling this out. Trade name or a DBA. A lot of people don't know what a DBA is. It allows you to do business under a different name. So let's say I have my company, the Auditory Museum LLC, but I want to create, a subset portion of my company that is solely focused on our card game, the Like You card game. I could file a DBA registration as Like You so that I could actually do business as Like You, write Like You on contracts, etc. Again, that's a personal preference. It's not necessary, but some people actually like segmenting different pieces of their business off. So if you do have a DBA, you would enter it right here. Then you're going to actually want to put in the county, state, territory where your organization exists. And then the LLC start date is important because they are going to actually use this date to figure out, if you owe any back taxes or how much you owe in taxes. So you want to make sure you're being honest about when your LLC was started. And once this is all filled out, you'll be able to move forward to EIN confirmation. If all goes according to plan, you should get your EIN very quickly. Every now and then, something happens with the site doesn't work, it might actually have you call, and they might have you fill out a paper application. It's kind of like doing your taxes. Like, you can fill everything out, and for whatever reason, for some people, they just want more information. Why? I don't know. I can't speak for what the government always has up its sleeves, but for most of you, you should be able to do this online, no problem. If you do have an issue, no worries. It's quite common for people to fill all of this out and then to be sent to a page where it's like, you have to call this number to get more information. So if that does happen to you, don't freak out. I'm sure the IRS, or actually I can't promise that because I don't know what y'all be doing in your free time, but I'm pretty sure the IRS is not going to be tracking you down. You're not in trouble. It just happens sometimes. So yeah, that is filing your EIN. And again, you're going to want to have this done in order to open up a bank account or to file your taxes, and even getting loans. You can't get a loan from a bank if you don't have an EIN number. People are going to continue to ask for this number when you're doing official business. So it's definitely something you want to make sure you go ahead and get.